Oh, I was hoping that you'd be way less tolerant of contradiction and that you'd go vegan.
Oh,
that,
you were hope
that was my hope.
you were hoping that there would be a light bulb above my head based on this conversation, and I would stop eating animals. That
Yep,
was your hope.
that was my hope.
Yeah. Sorry to disappoint you. If eating animals makes me, you know, performatively or philosophically uh, contradictory, I guess I'm just going to have to accept that about myself.
Roger that. I mean, and the best I guess I can hope for is that someday people such as yourself get pushed to the fringes of society and are not in charge of anything and are hopefully legislated against. I mean,
that will never happen. I think it's dangerous to consider 98% of the world's population as wrong. It's like if that if you're in the minority to that extent, it's like live your life. But I think it's dangerous for your psychology, for vegan psychology, to consider the vast majority of the people surrounding them as unprincipled, as unethical. It's like, do your thing, do your thing. I more power to you. Like, I respect it. I really respect your choices. I don't think you're crazy. I don't think you're wrong. I think, I think, I think judging so many people, your friends, your family, in that way, seeing the world that way, I think that's bad for you as a person, and I think that's bad for society as a whole. It's just who obviously there are tons of situations where the majority is wrong,
well,
and it would benefit, I guess, a large amount of people for their views to be legislated against. But to have those goals, I I think it's bad for you. I
well,
think it's not my call to make, obviously, and I'm not trying to sound presumptuous, or just I just think you should live the life you want to live, and think about legislation, uh, and uh, and controlling other people's lives and options. I don't think that's the right tact. I don't
right.
think it's right.
So what I was going to say was, I think if 98% of the population is affirming a proposition that you could logically show is false, I think that then the state of having affirmed a false belief just quantifies over 98% of the population. I don't see how the population percentage or proportion being big has anything to do with whether or not they're affirming something that's true or false, or whether or not they're holding reprehensible beliefs.
There's a point to slavery. Like, I mean, there's a lot of times where, like you said, the majority, supported something abhorrent. Should the abolitionists not fight against it? Should they just be complacent with the injustice and sit back and watch it happen? Sure, it's not easy for us to live like this as activists, but it's necessary. It's what justice demands. And I do find fulfillment in being an activist.
I respect it. I really do. I respect your activism. Share your views. Try and spread your views.
Okay. Well,
Do your
yeah,
best. Live your
one
life.
of the
Live
view
your
I,
life as you
well,
want to. I would never legislate. I would never
Well,
let
but I
them try.
can't. I can't end it there because you would though. That's the thing. Like, I bet you already support the laws that we have against kicking animals. Like, it's already against the law to kick an animal if they're not attacking anybody or anything. And you probably support that law because you're probably against animal cruelty and kicking animals needlessly, right? So
Absolutely.
what I'm saying is that yeah, kicking an animal is terrible, but stabbing them is even worse. Right? If you cut off an animal's head,
Absolutely.
even if it's quick and painless, that's more harmful to them than kicking them. If you kick them, they'll have a bruise, but they'll get over it in a day or two. But if you cut off their head, you end everything they have, all their relationships, their continued enjoyment, everything they had gone for your taste buds, right?
No, well, I mean, you can call it taste buds. If you kick a cow, you get nothing out of it. If you slaughter a cow,
No, you get
you
pleasure.
nourish children and hundreds of
No,
people.
no. You can get
So
pleasure
it's
from
not
their
it's not a
scream.
zero sum game like animal
No.
abuse is. It's
If
slaughter
you
for
kick an
nourishment.
animal, somebody who kicks an animal can get thrills from that, can get the pleasure of their screams, or can just feel like a big tough guy for picking on someone who's weaker than him.
Sure.
Either way, it's needless animal cruelty for pleasure, the taste bud or the ears, or the pleasure of feeling like a tough guy. It's just not justified. And I think this is all ableism, just to say that we can kill them because they're less intelligent than us is just a form of ableism. So if you're against ableism, stop using it as justification to kill animals.
I personally can't understand why there isn't a distinction between humans and animals that that doesn't obviate your ability to in good conscience slaughter and eat an animal under the right circumstances. But I don't.
Again, though, like what you would legislate against the dog kicker, and so
Yes.
we're trying to legislate against the pig stabber.
Yeah, bingo, basically.
You're trying to legislate against the pig eater.
When we buy these products, we're paying someone to stab an animal.
To slaughter an animal, hopefully, in a it's like there's I think important nuance.
Which is worse, kicking or killing? Which would you rather have done to you? To be kicked one time?
Again.
Just clarify
Not to
for you real
me.
quick,
Not to
right?
me. I'm a human.
Okay, it's to a dog.
No one's gonna
Or
use me to
it should be the
feed
same.
hungry people and nourish
Bro,
people.
well, we could. I bet you'd be delicious. You're full of protein. I put some barbecue sauce on your cookie, right? You'd be damn good. But I wouldn't do that.
You sound like you should get off the computer and go outside.
It'd be mean, though, wouldn't it? And I don't want to be mean. I was mean for long enough, right?
You were just mean. I think you should. I think
No,
you're
that's
getting
just
worked
making
up.
a
I think
point.
you're getting
That's just
emotional.
making a point.
No,
I love
I
you.
actually think Chase is making a good point here.
Well, what's Chase's good point?
Right.
It's your pack full of protein.
That you would
Like
taste delicious.
if God didn't want us to eat humans, then why'd he make you out of meat? Now, I'm an atheist, but like seriously, man, like just because you got that flesh on you doesn't mean I should exploit the vulnerability you might have and abuse the power I hold over you.
You're using humans as a comparison when I already established that for whatever reason my psychology allows me to separate humans and animals and see them differently and treat them differently.
I understand. Well, the point I'm making is that whether it's a human or a dog or a pig, if you kick that individual one time, they're going to have a bruise, but they'll get over it in a day or two. If we cut their head off, even if it's quick and painless, right? They don't see it coming. There's no pain, no fear. They're sleeping when we do it to them. So dog, pig, or human, either way, getting your head cut off is way more harmful to you than getting kicked one time. But you're against kicking them one time, so you should be even more against cutting their fucking heads off.
Okay.
Well, as long as you accept the proposition that killing is worse than kicking, I think he's got a good point.
Well, I didn't accept that proposition because it's not. I don't see it as killing. I see it as slaughter for nourishment.
Well, wait a second.
Yeah, I think one thing that's missing here is you can get all the nutrients from animals from non-animals. Like you don't require that.
I know.
So that's not an actual reason.
A few of them, but yeah, I know that argument.
Well,
in the same way that you can get pleasure from kicking a soccer ball instead of kicking a puppy.
What are we hoping to accomplish?
Well,
I'm not going to stop. I'm not going to stop eating animals. I think it's. I don't think it's right to legislate. We're talking about opinions here. We're talking about different psychologies.
Yeah, but we're also talking about massive unnecessary suffering for innocent beings who did nothing wrong, man. They don't deserve to be treated with violence.
I understand that that's your. I understand that that's your concern. People see things differently. People see things differently. It doesn't mean that one person's right or one person's wrong in many instances.
Well, you're ignoring the victim's perspective. If you saw it from their perspective, you know what I mean? You're totally discounting them from this scenario.
I've thought about the victims. I if I can speak on a personal level, I don't eat any factory raised animals. I'm not representative of a lot of carnists.
Yeah. In any case, I still have a
never
problem
have fast
killing
food.
young animals. You know, even if it's a small family local farm, they're killed when they're children. Like the natural lifespan of a pig is just like a dog, about 12 years old, but they're killed when they're only 6 months old. That is like killing a puppy. Again, even if it's quick and painless, that shit's fucked up, man. Now, I want to tell you what else is being accomplished in this conversation is that I'm, for one, and amongst a bunch of other people in this group, learning a lot about logic from Nick and watching you fail in front of us. And I'm also helping to spread the word that, yeah, we need to ban slaughter as soon as possible. And that, yeah, this can happen. And this kind of thing has happened in the past with other movements where we see women finally getting the right to vote after thousands of years of oppression. We see gay marriage finally being passed. We see civil rights. We see fur being banned in California. You can't sell fur in California anymore. It took only about 3 years and 300 activists for us to take down a $40 million per year industry. It's illegal. The reason that most people eat animals is because most people eat animals. It's because we're social creatures that are primarily influenced by the social norms that dominate our culture. What we were brought up to do, what's being done around us, what
Sure.
the fucking TV tells us to do.
Sure, what our grandparents did, what our great 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 grandparents did, you know, that
Yeah,
affects
and we're
what
afraid-
we see as okay.
Yeah, and we're afraid of change a lot, you know? Like, I ate animals for 26 years, and I was afraid of changing because I was like, I have no idea what the fuck I would eat, you know? And, like, and I have my favorite foods that I'm addicted to and shit, you know? And, like, don't try to
Sure.
make me think about the poor little animals. This is all about me.
Sure,
Right?
I
But then
I went vegan for almost a year in 2018.
I had to drop that ego, dude.
Yeah, I don't think ego has any place in this.
Your
I
ego
don't
is
think-
roaring. Your ego is covered in the blood of the innocent. What are you saying?
What is my ego? I'm not saying my view is morally superior or superior in any way. It's my view.
You're saying you're so
Where's
fucking
the
wonderful.
value?
to be
You're
clear,
saying you're so fucking wonderful because you happen to be born human. Nobody gets to choose how they're born, and there's nothing wrong with being different. So if we're against racism and sexism, we ought to be against ableism and speciesism too.
I can, in good conscience, eat animals, and some people can't, and that's a personal thing.
So
It's-
kicking dogs is fine
No,
by your standards,
but there exist people who think that it's okay.
and you respect their opinion.
No, I'm not asking for your respect.
well,
And
no,
if you
it
agree
wasn't
with-
respect.
I don't care.
It wasn't respect
I don't
that he
care
said.
at all.
It wasn't respect that he said. He said tolerance, right? So are you tolerant of dog kickers? Yes or no, right?
I'm not tolerant of dog kickers.
Okay, so why aren't you tolerant of them?
Why? That seems
Because
inconsistent.
in my opinion, that's abhorrent behavior, just like eating meat. In your guys' opinion, is abhorrent behavior. There's nothing wrong with it. It's fine. It's fine
So
to
what if-
have your views.
What if
I'm not saying you should
majority-
think differently. I don't care how you think.
What if majority of the population believe that kicking dogs is just fine, and they made changes in the legislature wherein kicking dogs is a sport? That should be fine, right? Because you're not doing it, everybody else is doing it, whatever. But you're not doing it. Personally, you're not partaking in it.
And it's not a human. It's just a stupid fucking dog, right?
Yeah.
Are-
It's as intelligent as a pig. Who cares?
Guys, I think we're getting off the point.
We're
think-
not.
We don't need to debate. I'm not here to debate the. I don't know why I'm here, but I'm not here to debate the virtues
Dog.
of veganism.
Well,
think
I
do
wanted to
whatever you
run.
want.
I wanted to
Be
run
as
down the trade
active as you want.
equalization process
Try-
personally.
Try and pass whatever legislation you want. More power to you guys. It's not working on me. I'm sorry. I wish. I don't know.
Well, you
I
say
don't
that,
wish
but you
for-
don't
I don't wish
actually
for
engage
anything.
with the argument.
Our
You didn't
opinions are
actually
different.
engage, and you didn't
Our
engage
opinions are
with the
different.
argument.
Our
You're dodging
perspectives
it
are
by
different.
just saying we're just different.
I respect
Oh,
yours.
Well, and what if the dog kicker said that to you?
I wouldn't respect him.
And would you still legislate against him?
Yeah.
Basically,
Yeah.
what's being asked here is what's
So,
true.
legislate against eating meat. Go for it.
So
I'm not saying don't do it.
I want to make sure that you're absolutely clear about what's being asked here. Basically, you're being asked what's true of the scenario where you're killing an animal for food, and the scenario where you are kicking a dog for pleasure, such that you draw asymmetrical attitudes between the two situations. What's the difference there?
Do I need to try and express that, which would probably be ineffective?
Well, if you want to tell me what,
can you not just see? Do you not just know?
Listen. If you want to tell me why,
to say it?
If you want to tell me why it's wrong to kick,
the answer to that question.
If you want to tell me why it's wrong to kick dogs, then yes, you'd have to render that.
Certain things feel wrong, and certain things don't feel.
That's not an answer. That's not an answer to the question.
I don't. Then I don't know what I don't know what you want. You want this to be a debate that it's not going to be. You want to back me into a corner that I don't care if I'm backed into.
I mean, we've already established that you have like zero epistemic standards or motivation or anything like that. So I mean, it's fine.
That's fine. There are feelings. There are bad feelings. There are good feelings. There are opinions, and there are differing opinions.
And to me, like, it's just sad when people,
you guys do whatever you want to do.
Okay, we're going to, for sure, but we're also going to try to force it on you and everybody else. So
go
brace
for
yourself. But like, it's just sad to me. It's frustrating and sad when people succumb to social norms and just let them control their lives and say, "Oh, it's my psychology because it's what I was taught and forced to believe, and it's what the TV said, so I have to do it." It's like, dude, aren't you more than what the TV says?